Favorite ninjas and like the video. Let's get to 1,500 likes because we cover everything on this channel. True crime, politics, news, everything. As you guys know, there was a ceasefire that was brokered between Pakistan and India, thanks to the United States. Let's go ahead and see. I apologize that it's going to be this nigga that's going to be yapping, and you guys already know how I feel about Indian accents. They're the worst. But, you know, what can you do? We're covering India and Pakistan, so.
Evening, both nations have reached a ceasefire agreement. Currently,
don't worry, I got the subtitles for you ninjas.
I am here at Bamiyal on the zero line and standing just 200 meters away from the LOC. I'm joined by some of the farmers because Punjab, as a state which was one of the most impacted by Pakistan strikes, which were foiled by our India's Air Force with their anti-missile and anti-drone system. These people, those who live in Punjab, Rajasthan, Gujarat, Jammu.
Now, what's interesting, what I will say about this conflict is both parties have, like, you know, done a very good job of pushing out their propaganda and censoring it, dissenters.
Kashmir border were the most impacted. You have seen just 200 meters away, the LOC line. The farmers here have harvested wheat and they are going to start the sowing for the paddy crop. And Punjab shares around 530 kilometer border, and the people living on the borders are mostly rely on agriculture as their mean to earn bread. तो सर दोनों देशों में देखा गया टेंशन बढ़ी, फिर सीजफायर एग्रीमेंट हो गया. कैसे देखते हैं आप? बॉर्डर पर रहते हैं, आपके लोग घर हैं, वो बॉर्डर में हैं, बॉर्डर के दायरे
That accent is fucking brutal.
में ही आते हैं. तो कैसा माहौल था पहले और सीजफायर के बाद अब क्या माहौल है?
सर पहले तो थोड़ा डर का माहौल था.
I'm giving you guys actual Indian news, so it's right from the source, but we gonna have to switch off this. This is painful.
वॉर चल रही थी तो पता नहीं कब क्या हो जाए, तो इसलिए थोड़ा बच्चे और औरतें जो है वो डरती हैं. तो हमारे जब खेती करने आते हैं हमें भी डर लगता है कि पता नहीं क्या.
Oh shit, hold on. We got some breaking news from Fox. Hold on. With the breaking, India claims Pakistan violated ceasefire, tensions flare, which this is the ceasefire that basically the Trump administration brokered.
Big news here. India and Pakistan agreed to a ceasefire earlier today following recent clashes between the two nations. The agreement comes after a long night of talks led by the Trump administration. But one side says the other already has violated the ceasefire. Stephanie Bennett, live in London with breaking details for us. Stephanie.
Hey, John. Yeah, the news of this ceasefire agreement from this morning was welcome news by residents on both sides. But as night fell, well, India has already accused Pakistan of violating it. Take a look at some of these images we're seeing. The Indian Foreign Secretary said there have been repeated violations of the deal. Of those on the ground, report hearing explosions and seeing flashing lights in the night sky. You can just about make them out there. Their armed forces have been told to deal strongly with the violations. Meanwhile, Pakistan's information minister denied any violations. Initially, President Donald Trump announced the deal earlier on Truth Social, saying in part, quote, after a long night of talks mediated by the United States, I'm pleased.
And this was as of May 10th, 2025. So this was literally yesterday morning.
To announce that India and Pakistan have agreed to a full and immediate ceasefire. Congratulations to both countries on using common sense and great intelligence. On X, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio wrote that he and Vice President J.D. Vance had been working for over 48 hours to get this done, saying the two countries will now start talks on a broad set of issues at a neutral site. Pakistan's Prime Minister thanked President Trump on X as well for his leadership, saying Pakistan believes this marks a new beginning in the resolution of issues that have plagued the region.
By the way, guys, if you guys like politics, you guys should all be on fucking X, by the way. I'm actually going to follow this guy right here so I can keep up with stuff. X is where it's at when it comes to politics, guys.
On Wednesday, India carried out strikes on what it said was terrorist infrastructure in Pakistani Kashmir and Pakistan 2 weeks after 26 people were killed in an attack on Hindu tourists in Indian Kashmir. Now, locals along the border today were initially elated to hear the news of this ceasefire and coming out with signs like that.
We found out via social media, via Donald Trump's tweet. We are happy to see this. This is a good thing. Nobody wants war.
And John, again, things are very much developing. We're going to keep an eye on all those developments. John.
Hopeful sign.
especially given how both powers literally have nuclear capabilities that can destroy each other. So, not a good move. Let's see if we have anything else with the latest. India and Pakistan have seemingly pulled back from the brink again, but so much was new about the nuclear-armed enemies' chaotic four-day clash, and so many of the underlying accelerants remain volatile that there's a little to suggest that the truce represents any return to old patterns of restraint. A new generation of military technology fueled the dizzying aerial escalation. Waves of airstrikes and anti-aircraft volleys with modern weapons set the stage. Soon, they were joined by weaponized drones en masse for the first time, both along the two countries' extensive boundaries and deep into their territory. Hundreds of them in the sky, probing each nation's defenses and striking without risk to any pilot. Then the missiles and drones were streaking past the border areas and deep into India's and Pakistan's territories, directly hitting air and defense bases, prompting dire threats and the highest level of military alert. Only then did international diplomacy, a crucial factor in past pullbacks between India and Pakistan, seem to engage in earnest at what felt like the last minute before catastrophe. In a new global chapter defined by perilous conflicts, distracted leaders, and a retracting sense of international responsibility to keep peace, the safety net had never seemed thinner. Going back historically, many of the India-Pakistan conflicts have been stopped because of external intervention, said Srinath Raghavan, a military historian and strategic analyst. You can see here, look, you can see all the fucking things in the sky. Mr. Raghavan observed that neither country has a significant military-industrial base, and the need to rely on weapons sales from abroad means outside pressure can have an effect. As you guys know, they buy their weapons from us and from Russia and China. But the positions of both sides appeared more extreme this time, and India in particular seemed to want to see if it could achieve an outcome different than in previous conflicts. I think there's a stronger sort of determination, it seems, on the part of the Indian government to sort of make sure that the Pakistanis do not feel that they can just get away or get even, he said, which definitely is part of the escalatory thing. Both sides seem to feel they cannot let this thing end with the other side feeling that they have somehow got the upper hand. The political realities in India and Pakistan, each gripped by an entrenched religious nationalism, remain unchanged after the fighting. And that creates perhaps the most powerful push toward the kind of confrontation that could get out of hand again. Let me summarize it for you guys, okay, guys? Very simple. India and Pakistan are two different countries culturally and with different religions, right? You got Hindus on one side, then you got Muslims on the other side. In India, there are Muslims, but they are not the majority, okay? And they're heavily persecuted by India. In India, they have a caste system, which is brutal to those that are not Hindus, well, even people that are Hindus. And Muslims tend to be at the bottom of that. So do Christians. Now, in Pakistan, they obviously are Muslim. And this issue, when it comes to religious differences, has created quite a bit of geopolitical tension for decades. That whole region, guys, was basically controlled by the British. And after World War II, right around 1947, they broke off. And these two different factions had problems. And a lot of it is attributed to religion. Now, in the Islamic faith, guys, in Islam, idol worshiping and paganism is heavily, heavily frowned upon, okay? And the same with the Hindu side, they don't like the monotheistic Abrahamic religions either. So this conflict isn't just a geopolitical problem where, you know, they're fighting over water and the river and all this other stuff. No, they're also fighting on religious lines as well. So, you know, and the country of India is heavy with the censorship, as you guys know. A lot of political commentators on Twitter were literally banned. It can't be seen in India for obvious reasons. So this has been going on for a very long time, guys.